It was so much fun to connect with hundreds of my podcast listeners and followers at my free class last week, How to Make 2025 Kidney Stone Free. It's not too late to get a recording of that class. Just head to www.kidneystoneclass.com and be sure to watch until the end when I announce a pretty sweet bonus for signing up for Kidney Stone Nutrition School by this Friday, January 17th. In this episode of the podcast, you'll hear a firsthand experience of my online course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School, and how this course truly is life-saving, per Maggie's words. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. I'm your host, registered dietitian and kidney stone expert, Melanie Betts. After learning a ton about kidney stones and helping people prevent stones at the University of Chicago, I was fed up with all the terrible advice people were finding online. So I decided to do something about it. The Kidney Dietitian was born. This podcast is for people who want to learn what actually works to prevent kidney stones and still enjoy life, eating, and their favorite foods. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. I'm your host, as always, registered dietitian and kidney stone expert Melanie Betts, and I am thrilled to have another very special guest on the podcast this week. Her name is Maggie Pollard, and she actually was or still is a student in my online course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School, and she is going to share a little bit about her experience with kidney stones and what it was actually like in the course. So, welcome, Maggie, to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Melanie, and I'm very excited for this. It's an honor you having me here.
Yes, I'm honored to have you here as well. So, before we dive into kidney stones, if you don't mind, can you share a little bit with the audience just about who Maggie is? What do you do? Where do you live? Just a little bit about your life in general.
Well, I am a chemical engineer. I'm Mexican. I married my husband 17 years ago.
Okay.
I met him in Mexico, actually. I used to work for Frito-Lay.
Okay.
I used to work for the process of making Cheetos.
Oh, cool.
And I used to send 650 pounds of cornmeal to
Huh?
make the Cheetos. So I used to work in the process of line of all of that. And believe me, being in there was easier than being a mom. Certainly.
I agree. Everything that I do in life is easier than being a mom.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Yes.
and now I'm just at home. I working here with my kids. I have two kids. I have a 11-year-old daughter,
Okay.
Adri, and my 16-year-old son,
Mhm.
that is Brian. He's in high school and she's in middle school.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you are way far ahead of me in the parenting game. I have twin 2.5-year-olds, as you know, so I can't imagine having a middle schooler and high schooler, that's for sure.
Oh, believe me, it is a way. There is a lot of things to going on in there, but you are gonna do it.
Yeah,
Everybody
yes.
does.
Day
So you
by
will be
day,
there.
hour by hour.
Mhm. You will be there. Yes.
Yeah. That's so funny. I actually didn't know that you were a chemical engineer until you mentioned it today before we started recording. I have a good friend who is also a chemical engineer, and for a while he worked for a surfactant company. And so it was a big joke, like, oh, he makes bubbles for a living.
That is funny. Yes. No,
Um,
I do love it. I love all the chemical stuff into the everything. I love the process. I love the foods. That's what is my passion about all of these. That's what I met you. That's what I have a lot of stuff to say
mhm.
because it is definitely all in us, and um the chemistry, how you manage the elements, how you move the stuff around.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. And so you met your husband in Mexico, but it sounds like he is not from Mexico. Is that what
No,
I'm?
he's American.
Okay.
I'm very good at math. I'm not very good at languages. Yeah, when I met him a long time ago, he actually know didn't know how to speak Spanish, and
Uh-huh.
I actually didn't know how to speak English. So I didn't know how to speak English. I took a lot of courses and stuff, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't. Like in my side of my brain, it just completely blocked, and I just can't do it. And well, now I think love and everything, it just came up and I'm doing this.
That's
So yeah,
amazing. I mean, and you both learn, so he speaks Spanish fluently as well now.
no,
Oh, no, no,
not at
just
all.
kidding. I was gonna say that's amazing.
No.
You both learn each other's languages
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. I actually I did learn English and he did not learn Spanish. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Well, do your daughters speak English and Spanish?
Well, both of them, and Brian is
Oh,
studying and
yeah.
Adri is studying, but like I do respect very much the culture. And
Hmm.
I was no into, like speaking with my kids in Spanish and my husband like speaking
Hmm.
in there and like listening to. I wanted for him to be immersed into all the culture that I have with them or the communication that I will be doing with them.
Hmm.
So I didn't, but Brian is doing very good.
Oh,
He's
good.
very fluent now in Spanish, and
Amazing.
she is taking it. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I wish that I spoke another language. It's
Oh,
uh,
thank you.
I
Thank
suppose it's
you.
never too late to learn, but it's
Yes.
definitely on my bucket list at some point
No,
in my life.
definitely. Yes.
Awesome. So, we'll now kind of transition into kidney stones. So, what is your history with kidney stones? When did they start? Kind of what has been going on in your life in terms of kidney stones?
Oh my goodness. That is a very crazy story. So I got married in 2007 and I moved here. And then when right away I got pregnant in 2008,
Okay.
and I didn't know how to cook because I'm very, very Mexican. My mom used to have like just cooking out of like fresh things, like the very Mexican way that you see things
Traditional
like,
Mexican way, yes.
yes, like fresh tomatoes. And my mom used to have a field with the chickens and like
Mm.
all the like fresh things, like grow chickens and do all that.
Hmm.
So, but I used to just help her like cook things, and I didn't was immersed into the cooking thing. I was more like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be sewing and knitting and things like that.
Yeah.
So in 2007, when I married and then I got pregnant, I didn't know how to cook, and I moved here. And I realized, oh, wait a minute. I don't know where to get fresh vegetables. I don't know how to do all of this. And then my husband didn't know how to do it either. And I got sick, like completely sick, 9 months sick of like the pregnancy, the
Yeah.
nauseous, all of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to cook. My husband is very American. So we are very opposite ways. He's all like potatoes and, like a meat,
Hmm.
all the meat. So it was like, okay, he was not that flexible with vegetables and things. So he didn't know how to cook. So we went all over to just eat just the fast food at all times. We were
Hmm.
like, Brian is pretty much a grown like out of a Burger King. That's the only food that I will hold into my belly. So, but in that time also, I didn't like realize how I was not attached to water. Like I didn't drink water. Like
Hmm.
nobody has that culture of drinking water. It's not like, oh, what, let's drink our water. Like not
It
at
just
all.
not something you do. Hmm.
No, so I went through that. I went through all the process to the baby stuff, the things, they stopped eating like just Buffalo Wild Wings, like every single thing that the boys eat, like Buffalo Wild Wings. And I was like, oh, I'm living in heaven. This is fabulous. Like hamburgers and McDonald's and like I completely just fall into the like, okay, let's just do this. I got
Hmm.
a baby, and then I was just continuous with that because I was so busy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not taking any, like, I didn't know how to cook. And then when I saw the recipes were in English. So I was like, okay, I need to translate this. No, fast food.
Yeah,
So I
just so
was
much
into,
easier.
yeah. So I was like, okay, you
Yeah.
know what? Fast food. So I was into fast food, not drinking water and drinking coffee like crazy.
Okay.
So what I will be putting into, I thought, oh, you know what? This is fancy. I'm just gonna get my coffee maker and I'm just gonna have 2 liters of coffee and I'm just gonna drink that.
That's an
So I was
impressive amount of coffee. You
believe
must have
me,
been like shaking.
oh, right now I cannot take any more caffeine.
Yeah.
Like no more caffeine. Like my body got I never realized that like you don't understand things. Like
hmm
I wish in school they will teach you how to like have a nutrition like a class into how you manage your life.
hmm They
Bethany,
should.
like
They should.
Melanie.
Well, and you just get in sort of your habits, I think, and life happens, right? You had a newborn. That is, you're sleep deprived, you're busy, you've got a gazillion things going on, and this is what you were used to doing. And it's a lot of effort, even for people who speak the language that the recipes are in, to make that change. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, and so in that situation, all went there. And then suddenly in 2010, yeah, that's where everything started. In 2010, I got a kidney stone and I was like, okay, fine. The doctor didn't make it a big deal. I just went to the doctor.
hmm
He took it with the stent and the laser. And he made it so simple. Like I
No big
got
deal.
clean and I got out. I was so young and I was like, okay, done. So they actually didn't make it like, oh, you know you're different. You now need to drink more water. What is your diet? Like
They didn't mention
nothing.
anything about prevention, even
Nothing.
drinking more water. Yeah.
No, nothing. So I was like, okay, perfect. This is normal. And everybody says, like, oh, I got a kidney stone. Oh, yes, me too, whatever. So I was like, okay, done. Then, 8 years later, we were already living in Miami. We
hmm
moved. My husband is an IT consultant and he travels a lot.
hmm
So I'm usually with the kids. And then suddenly it's like, you know what? I got a kidney. We moved to Miami. So when we moved to Miami, over there, I was in pain. Like I went to the hospital, but like already screaming. They got me. They are different people, and they kind of they are very focusing to just had to get not the treatment for like being you more no address the problem. So it was like, okay, I got this. They told me, okay, you need to go. This is not a big deal. We just need to give you some pills and you're good. I was like, wait a
As you were
minute, what?
passing a kidney stone?
It was a big kidney stone.
hmm
So I was like, okay. I went home with just the pills that
hmm
calm the pain.
hmm
Okay. My husband traveled. He went for a week.
Ugh.
When he came back, I was septic
Mm.
because they told me drink water and you're gonna pass this stone, but they never took X-rays. They never did anything. I was septic. I got to be in the hospital for a week.
Mm.
Finally, they put a stent and they sent me home. And when they removed the stent, I got septic again. So 2 times septic. And I was like, okay, you know what? We need to move from Miami. And we moved here to I live now in North Carolina.
hmm
When I got here, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna find a very good doctor that like tracks my nutrition, my stuff. It's when I was kind of like serious about that. I was like, there is not too much help, but like I want to be serious about this.
hmm
So I got there, and when the I got here, and then the doctor said, you know what? We have a nutrition person that is gonna be your guide. And I'm like excited, I was like, wow, my doctor, my nutrition, and the urologist.
hmm
So the urologist that removed the stones, the nutritionist, and the doctor that follows my 24-hour urine stuff. So
hmm
it was like urine test, like 24 hours. Like I had
Seems
the
like they
whole
actually
entire
were serious about
yeah,
this.
I was like, yes, I
Yeah.
got this. Like, yes. So I was following the routine. I'm very like responsible with things. So I was into that. So the nutritionist, I was just telling me, you know what? Just don't eat too much calcium. Just eat, giving me examples of like like a little plan of things. You just a list of things that I have to take, and it was just a little sample of things. And I was like, okay, I should not eat these things. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, you just I even put it in the top of my refrigerator, and I was like, oh, I got this. It's in here.
So she was telling you the horrendous, outdated advice to limit calcium.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I got this, like I put it, I got
Ah.
it in top of my refrigerator. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna avoid that. I'm like, oh, I'm visual. So I got my goal perfect. I even learned how to make hemp milk. I
Oh.
learned how to make cashew milk, and I got the family into that. And I'm like, we got this. But she was like, you know what? Get some almond milk and things like that. So I was like, wait a minute. Almond has a lot of oxalates. So I was
Hmm.
like, should I take that? Oh, well, she says so. So I'm
Yeah.
going to
That's
do it.
also weird because almond milk has just as much calcium usually as cow's milk. So who knows? Whatever. She clearly wasn't well versed in kidney stone
Oh my
nutrition.
goodness. No, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. So after 4 years, I got another stun. I was like, wait a minute. Like you told me that this was gonna be okay, and like what I have another stun.
Right. I've done everything
So
perfectly.
yeah, I was like, I've been
Yeah.
doing this, and my doctor, suppose the 24-hour doctor, she was saying like, your urine is perfect, your stuff is perfect, but I was seeing my numbers that they were different, and then I got a stun. So when I got a stun in 2022.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, this is not right. It was suddenly, and when I was being with her every year, so
Yeah.
I got there, and
You were
then
being the perfect patient. You were doing
yeah, it
everything
was
you said. You were
yeah
following up. You were getting your urine tests.
everything. But you
Hmm.
know what? I even made an appointment, like a private appointment with a nutritionist, and I was like, what should I eat? Like, I want to take this serious. Like, what should I do? And she was like, I'll send you some things, and even took my son and my daughter because I was like, you guys need to know how to eat because we are in this together.
Hmm.
And they were like, okay. So we went, and again, she just gave me a list of just how, and it's in simple of how to get breakfast and lunch and dinner, but
Hmm.
nothing else, like nothing else. I was like, I don't feel that I'm in the right place yet. So then happened something crazy. I got this done on the 2022, and I go to the doctor, and the doctor is like, you know what? You're not doing it right. They say, we are going to have to do a lithotripsy, and this lithotripsy is the safest thing to do.
Hmm.
And I was like, lithotripsy. When I read about it, I was like, oh my goodness, it's like almost somebody hitting you from behind. I'm like, you know what? It's a procedure. I trust him. I was like, let's do this.
Hmm.
I went, we did it. And then, oh my goodness, it was tough. It was harder to recover than anything else.
Interesting. Hmm.
Very the people out there knows about lithotripsies.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna scare anybody because
Yeah. I
you
think it
know,
depends on your doctor and
exactly
where the
different.
stone is
Yeah, it can
and people
my
react
experience
differently.
exactly. My
Mhm.
experience cannot be anybody else's experience, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to go through the details. But then after that, it came back again, the X-rays, and the X-rays showed the same stone after
Ugh.
the lithotripsy. And then, but it was after a year
Hmm.
that he didn't even saw me. He didn't even do the follow-up. He just like let me go until the year after. And I was like, this is weird. Maybe they didn't remove the stone. And he was like, you probably didn't eat like whatever and stuff. And this, we have to do it right now. I'm like, right now. Like he wanted to actually schedule me for another lithotripsy like a week later from where I was being like into the follow-up
Hmm.
appointment. I
Yeah.
was like, this is weird. I was sitting in there in shock, and I was like, wait, first 8 years after I have one stone, and then 4 years after, and now that I'm following perfectly, I had a stone a year after. Like this is not
Hmm.
going well.
Something is not working.
Yeah, this is not
Yeah.
going well. But then he even scared me further on. He's like, okay, if we are not gonna do this, you are going to have, I see a possibility for you to be a patient for cancer, for cancer. When he said the word cancer, I was like in shock. Like I was sitting in there, I was like, being smart, thinking, and I'm like, okay, so if the lithotripsy is causing me this, I was healthy before, how am I gonna jump into doing another lithotripsy right away, right now, when I have cancer almost, So I was like, no, I'm looking for another doctor, right? I left the place and I went to look for another doctor. I went with her and she's like, no, this is crazy. No, we are just gonna get your stone out with a stent. We put your stent and you are done. I was like, okay, whew, I breathe.
No more lithotripsy.
I was no more lithotripsy stuff and in no more cancer talking
Yeah.
and like, what about that? So it's when I thought myself, I was actually with my daughter. I took her to the gym and I thought myself, this is not right. I need to be serious about this. I need to make sure that I know myself, that I'm different, that, okay, maybe and nobody thinks that having a kidney stone is serious because everybody's like, you have a kidney stone. But like if if you will tell everybody else's, you know what, I have cancer, everybody will say, oh my gosh, but like nobody takes it like, I have a kidney stone. And
No
everybody's
one
like,
takes
oh,
it seriously.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Or even I have high cholesterol or I have diabetes, right? There's empathy.
Yeah.
But for kidney stones, sure, there is maybe during the acute event, right? But kind of dealing with everything that you're describing, doctors who aren't taking you seriously, aren't giving you any advice for prevention or giving you harmful advice for prevention, and sort of just all of the mental health and stress and trauma, quite frankly, that comes with all the repeated procedures, all that stuff. People don't. I think people just truly don't understand how much kidney stones really impacts your life.
Yeah, you are actually talking about like diabetes.
Right.
So when I went with my kid for how I ate and how I was doing it, I actually got a gestational diabetes, like how do you say
Yep. Yes.
digestational diabetes?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have had gestational diabetes after having the baby. I have had the pre-diabetes since 17 years from like I have had for 70 and everything, every time that I go to the doctor, it's like, oh, your AC1 is high. We should give you all of these pills and stuff and things. I'm like, no, like I don't take medicine. Like I think we humans, we can be smart to know what are we doing, with the right guidance. Like what can we do for ourselves if the food is out there? You're a human. You can figure it out what to do with it. So I'm like, no, no, thank you. Okay, so you don't want these pills that are magic that are gonna make you lose weight and look more thin. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm okay with it. So, but they actually acknowledge more the diabetes than the
Then the
kidneys.
kidney stone.
So I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to get any more kidney stones. And it's when I got into this. I was like, you know what? There should be out there something. Why I have no actually research, because I thought I had the doctor, I had my nutritionist. The doctor needed to tell me, everything. So I was like, there should be a book out there that actually tells me how to eat. Oh no, even better, there should be some guidance, some stuff. So I started searching like crazy internet, for everything. And then suddenly, Melanie, you were there.
I popped up.
Yeah, thank goodness. So you did. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. This is like a dream.
Yeah, who
Okay.
is this person? Which is
Yeah,
fair.
like
You should question
what?
people you find online for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is like every single dream come true. Like I was with my daughter and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I don't have time to see now, but I'll be back tomorrow. In the hour that she's in the gym, I'm just gonna go back and check more.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back the next day, and it was like everything that I needed. I was like, okay, this is a spam. This cannot be bothered. Like, this is different. And I was telling her, like, Adri, this is everything that I need. Like, I always thought in my head, like, what is not everybody out there that is just like telling you what to do? And with a lot of like technology now, it's like what I cannot find just my Instagram and I just check what is she doing or what is
Mm-hmm.
this and what is. And then I was like, I found you in the Instagram. I found you in everything. I was like, this cannot be, this is crazy. But I was like, okay, you know what? I got this. So when I was like, I have to jump into this, I have to do it. So when they removed the stone, while I was in the bed for the whole entire week, they removed the last stone in February of this year.
Okay.
I took a week, and while I was recovering in my bed, I watched the whole entire Kidney Stone Nutrition School. And I went for every single word that you did, that you say, for every single thing. I went through it. And I was like, when I jumped out of the bed, I was ready. Like,
The
I
great use of
felt
that
like,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. You're
It took
probably
me
a
a
good
week.
distraction and you're getting prepared to not do everything that you can to not be in the situation again.
I was inspired. I
Mm-hmm.
was scared. I already knew that I took the challenge to say, you know what, I'm different. I am going to pamper myself and say, yes, you have a kidney stone and you have to be treating different and
Mm-hmm.
you're special and your body's special
Yeah.
and it's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. You have the everything in there. I also did the kidney stones, the best living your best life with the kidney
Oh,
stones, your
yeah.
mental health. And I was lost, Melanie. I think I was dying. In that point, I didn't trust myself that I wasn't going to be able to do anything because in that moment I told you, I thought, no, there is no point, there is no point to do cashew milk. There is no point to do hemp milk. There is no point. Like, what is the point to anything? Like,
Mm-hmm. You felt
no.
that no matter what you did, you'd have another stone, is what you're saying, right? You're like, what? Clearly, I've been doing everything perfectly and I keep getting stones, so might as well eat what I want, right? Mm-hmm.
But I was lost because I didn't want to take medicine. Like the doctor told me and gave me a very big list of things. And she told me, well, you're going to have to take these medicines. And inside of my head was like, please no, because she told me, if you take this medicine, it's going to have your blood sugar is going to be high. So you're going to have to take this other medicine that is going to control
Mm-hmm.
that. And instead of my head, it was just like jumping to something that it's not that you don't have to take it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you obviously you can control that. You need to understand that you're different. And it's okay to take medicine and it's okay to for your body to be able to function, I was
Mm-hmm.
like on it. I was like,
Yeah.
perfect. A year ago, my daughter got diagnosed with vasovagal syncope. Is that the water doesn't get to your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly your brain gets dry, and then you just faint.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow. So challenge accepted because I'm not good at drinking water. My daughter now has to drink water because
Mm-hmm.
if she's not hydrated, she faints.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's do this. So, and then Brian, he got the egg white allergy. So egg
Oh,
whites.
okay. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, you know what? This is crazy. Everybody wants me to be a cook in here in this house. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
challenge accepted because guess what? I got this. I got Melanie, and I'm like, I got this. Melanie, your kidney stone nutrition school is amazing. Like, no, you haven't paid me for this. I
No.
You didn't tell me to do all of this. Certainly don't. I just wanted to do it because people has to know. There is a friend of my son that had a kidney stone. And I told her mom, I told her, hey, you should definitely check Melanie. She's very good at this. And she's like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna base in the doctor what she tell me. I'm like, instead of my head was like, my doctor, actually, Melanie, I told you, I think my doctor uses your some of your stuff. And I told my doctor, I was like, I'm so excited, you should look into this. And she's like, I use her
Oh.
paper. I'm like, so you're telling me that actually we are in the same thing? And she's like, yeah, I get it. She's awesome. I actually do her stuff. I'm like, I feel even more confident. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And now every single thing that I do is just coming here. You have every single thing for like types of things, like the levels of oxalate and like everything, like the nuts, how many, like how much oxalate the nuts have. And now I can say, you know what, almonds probably no, Brazilian nuts probably not, but
All the other ones, totally fine.
yes. So every single more stuff in there, I
Mhm.
was like your recipe plans, your spice your life.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah, and I love
everything.
I as I built the course, I really wanted it to be like obviously you take the course and we work together, but really it's you have lifetime access, and I did that on purpose so that it's a reference for you, right? And I update it as science changes, and I'm there for you, and the content is there for you for those references, because obviously you need to keep eating for the rest of your life. And once you have a stone, unfortunately, you are at higher risk the rest of your life, and so you need that consistent access to those to all that information to kind of stay on track. So I'm glad that all of that has been so helpful for you.
It has changed.
Hmm.
I can tell you that now after finding you and after going through all the information that you have, it's just perfect. Like I feel complete now. My mental health finally just settled down.
Hmm.
And I was just like so happy to be able, because you have the student community too. You
Hmm.
have that anybody can have questions in there and you answer them. You have the kidney, the 24-hour
You can,
testing
yep, you can
that
send me your urine test and I'll comment on it. Yep. Hmm.
you comment into that. So before I actually go to see my doctor, I'm already prepared. But that is not actually the secret of all of this, because so everybody could say, oh, yes, she helped me with that. Do it the course with the kidney in nutrition school. Actually, I can do it myself. I can go ahead and figure it out. Oh, you know what? I think the sodium is too low. Like I become an expert. Like you made us nutritionists. Like I feel like, oh my gosh, like you did, like you're
Hmm.
so kind to that you didn't keep information for us to actually be able, you give the whole entire
Everything you
everything.
need to know. Hmm.
You're so kind, and like I just can't thank you enough. I'm very happy because I know that I can skip things. I'm
Hmm.
happy to understand. I
Yeah.
appreciate every single thing that you have done for me, for us. I bet a lot of people. You have given me peace of mind.
Hmm.
I am confident of what I can cook. I'm confident to go to the grocery store and pick the ingredients that I need to do. I think and I can say now that I can do anything and and cook anything and be free to eat anything. And
Hmm.
that's because of you, Melanie.
Yeah. Thank you. That's I know how much of a gift that is when I mean, for a long time, you were trying to follow that restrictive advice that wasn't even correct anyway. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about finding a diet that's least restrictive for people, right? I don't want to make this harder than it has to be, and it really doesn't have to be that hard, right? Because one well, the biggest reason that I want to do that is because that's no way to live, right? When you put people on super restrictive diets, it's miserable, it's depressing, it's limiting, it impacts your quality of life. And kidney stone nutrition, no matter who you are, because certainly it's different for everyone, but no matter who you are, it doesn't have to be this strict low oxalate diet, eat no salt, eat no sugar. Like that's silly. Like that is not the way that you can. I have helped literally thousands of people prevent stones, and they still eat sugar, they still eat salt, and they generally don't restrict oxalate. So there's, so much more that you can do, and it doesn't have to be so hard.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's no hard. I was so depressed. I was so depressed. I thought, oh my gosh. Like I thought, oh my gosh, how I'm gonna cook for my kids? How I'm gonna be able to function in this world where like I'm having a teenager and I'm having two
Right.
teenagers
You're going to go
almost.
out to eat. You're going to have social functions. You're right. Like that, you should, right? That's what life is about. And if you
Yeah.
feel that you literally can't do those things, then this diet is not working for you. Whatever, whether we're talking about kidney stones or anything, right? Like that is not working.
Yeah, no, and you have also the recipe books, the little book,
Hmm.
the digital books that you got,
Yeah.
and I download them and I start seeing them how you put the ingredients, how you do it, and my mind start crazy, like growing. And now I have even my own recipe book, that every single thing that I do, and the kids are loving it. Like my son is growing. Like now we are probably 60% vegetarians, and then the rest is just, like obviously we get a chicken, a
Hmm.
rotisserie chicken. Sometimes we get salmon because you need omega. But like he's building muscles. He's
Hmm.
just growing, and it just like inside of my head was like, wow, how is that lentils make muscles?
There's
Like
protein in lentils.
so I am
Yeah.
very happy. I'm very proud of myself, and my body is just happy. It just my brain is happy,
Hmm.
and actually can tell you that it works because after on February was the remove of my stone, and then in November, on November 12th, I went to see the doctor, my new
Hmm.
doctor, and I was like, so how I'm doing. She did my 24-hour urine test, and I was like, okay, so how I'm doing. And she's like, you know what? You're doing good. She's like, your numbers are very good. Do you want any medicine? She was actually questioning me. I'm like,
No,
I
not
was
unless
like,
I need
no,
it.
no. I was like, she's like, you can maybe take it. Just think. I was like, no, you know what? No, I think I can deal with this. I feel
Hmm.
happy. I can. So no medicine. I feel good. Like I
Hmm.
feel good.
Yeah. What I'm hearing you say is that the biggest benefit to Kidney Stone Nutrition School is that mental health piece, that sort of peace and calm and less anxiety. You don't feel depressed about what you have to eat or what you feel that you have to eat or can't eat. And that, I mean, that's huge. Like that is significant in itself. But also it sounds like it paid off in those 24-hour urine test results. So that tells us that your risk of forming another stone is quite low. Which is huge.
But like your course is so great that I'm like, I got this with sugar. I got this with salt. Like my kids are like, Mom, you know too much now. I'm like, yes, I know.
Like you said, you're a mini dietitian, an honorary dietitian.
I love it. I love it so much. So not really like I really appreciate it. And people out there should actually consider themselves that they are special, that they should be giving themselves the treatment. They should take it serious because I didn't do it. Nobody takes it serious. So you should be the one taking yourself serious. And definitely they should read every single thing that you have and they should find you because I was very lucky to find you. And God is very nice with me because he did it.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy, Melanie.
Oh,
And thank
I'm
you.
so happy. I'm so happy for you. You did it. You did it. I put the course together, but you did it. You took it. You listened to every single word while you were in that hospital bed, and you did it, right? You
I did.
you implemented those changes. So I'm happy for you. So the last question that I have for you, if you could describe one word, in one word, how your life changed after taking Kidney Stone Nutrition School, what would it be? You had to choose one word.
I would say life-saving. It did. It did for me. I don't think anybody understands that. My kids, my husband, like my friends will just be, oh, you have a kidney stone. And it is a life-saving because you do take us serious. And because of that, I start taking myself serious. So I really appreciate it.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, I'm
seriously.
gonna cry. Thank you, Maggie. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, I do. And Melanie, thank you so much for every single thing that you do for everybody. And I can hear your podcasts, another podcast, or I could hear every single thing how you describe, how you put all your love into that. And believe me, I would say like my teenager kids, you're a real one.
What do they say these days?
Oh my goodness, now that they say like you're a winner, you're a real one.
Okay, a real one. Okay, cool. I'll take it.
So yes, you're a real one.
Oh, well,
Yes.
thank you. That's a great ending to the podcast. You're the real one.
Thank you, Melanie.
You are so welcome. And thank you, Maggie, so much for taking the time to be here on the podcast to share your experience. I know sometimes it can be kind of painful to kind of honestly think back about, you know, those traumatic experiences of the multiple lithotripsies and surgeries and kind of rehash all of that. But I do think it's helpful for people, even if you don't join the course, to just kind of hear other people kind of going through a similar thing that you have. I know that sense of community is really wonderful. And that's one of the things I love about my Facebook group and the course too, right? Like on those calls, it's so fun to just to be able to create that space for people to connect and listen to each other. That alone, I think, is a really, really valuable thing. So thank you for being here.
No, I really appreciate it. And you know what is the best thing? Is to go through like in thinking that I did that, but I'm so good now. Like I'm very good.
Yeah,
So
you got it. You're that honorary dietitian.
yes. So everybody can do it. Like everybody can do it. And
Mhm.
everybody should treat themselves as a special and that like you are okay and you can do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can. It's not that hard. It really
No.
isn't that hard.
Mm-mm. No, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
Well, with your help. With your help.
Right. That's
Well,
true.
Yeah.
That's that's fair. Well,
If I would.
there's so much noise online and that unfortunately you often get from doctors who mean well but just don't have updated information or who are not dietitians and just don't have the skills to provide nutrition education in a way that is meaningful and helpful to people. And so that's what I aim to do is really simplify it and bust through the noise and provide science-based, actual effective information that's actually going to help people. That's what I do. So
And it is working. I can tell you it's working. And you have everything and you tell us everything and I just appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And thank you again for being on the podcast. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this podcast. I appreciate you joining me every single Wednesday on the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. And I hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For more help with kidney stones, check out my website, www.thekidneydietitian.org. For more personalized help from me, check out my online course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School. VIP enrollment includes help directly from me. I can't wait to see you there and help you prevent kidney stones. Have a great day.